Hey guys, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we're jumping back into our game with Nottheim. It's turn 51, and my current turn is 52, and the turn is about to post. So what I'm going to do is try to run through this turn real quick, and then show you this turn before it posts. So we got mentally attacked again by Mind Hunt. This time it killed a werewolf and a scout, which is a bit annoying. But fortunately, we're gonna. It's important. I think we're gonna actually, before we. Okay, we'll go through the battles, but we're gonna come back and talk about this. I'm gonna talk about how I designed this nation, with my understanding of the mid and late game metas. Okay, and then we have some battles. My Shadow Seer got killed by the barbs. God damn it. He did a pretty big PD dump. If this wasn't a lot of PD, we would have been fine. I'll just show you. If you remember, I didn't want these guys to get mind hunted. Anyway. So I moved this guy in. He was on the Eagle King, and I was thinking we'd probably be fine. But it turns out we weren't, because the barbs ran past this guy, and they got him. And there had to be a lot of barbs for that to happen, really. And there were. So that... Okay, that was that. And then down here, we lost a turkey. Same logic. I don't want to have my werewolf alone in a province to get mind hunted, so I made my turkey stay instead of run, and now my turkey's dead. So this is not a good solution. The solution is going to be the Shadow Seers. And if I use my Shadow Seers and then I have my turkeys there, it'll probably make him confused for a little bit. And he'll probably keep mind hunting me while I'm destroying his shit. Now, we finally have a battle with the United Nations Junior. So he probably was preparing that there could be a fight, but he might not have been thinking it would be this turn, because I didn't have an army there exactly this turn. We were just kind of lucky to meet. Had a few Eagle Warriors jump in. They get basically completely shredded. I've got a Thug back here too. We have Darkness. Now from this point, we're going to lose a few to Banishment, but we're just going to absolutely murder his troops. And I want to show you why. Like, why is the math... Like, these guys are good troops. They're Yuan cavalry. They're basically the heavy barb TNG cavalry, and they're pretty damn good. Now, why is it that these guys are going to get mulched? Well, the reason is because their attack stats suck. Right now, their attack skill is, for most of their weapons, is 5. Meanwhile, my defense skill is 9. That means most of the time they're not even going to hit me. When they do hit me, they're going to hit me for 1 damage. Meanwhile, will I hit them? Oh, yes, because my attack skill is 16. Their defense skill on a cavalry is 9. And that's including the shield, which means, like when my giants poke, if they hit and they hit the shield, there's a pretty good chance they're going to kill this person still. When my normal skeletons poke, if they don't hit the shield... So what does that mean for the giants when they're poking? It means that basically the defense check is minus the parry value, which is 4. So you basically say their defense skill is like 5. So for them, it's a check from 15 against 5, which means I'm going to hit basically 100% of the time and probably kill them with the giant. With the little ones, we're going to basically have a 16 check against 9, which means I'm going to hit like 75% of the time without hitting their shield. And so you can see what this actually means just by watching this small little thing. What it means in practice is these guys literally count for nothing, and my free spawn undead, they count for everything. And then just the volleys of death from my crossbows are highly effective. We may get one more volley before they all turn coat and run. But these guys have been now enveloped. And then this is probably going to cause some friendly fire. Yeah. And then these Abyssians who don't care about defense are going to be less hampered, and they have pretty decent attacks, so they're still going to be able to hit stuff, but they're probably not going to kill through Fog Warriors, because they don't have magic weapons. So anyway, they didn't just lose, they got completely and brutally wrecked. Yeah, rip. We lost a little bit of unnoticeable chaff and then some gems for casting spells. But that was pretty good. I tried this, and I didn't really talk about it. And the first time I recorded this, I did talk about it, but then my mic was muted, so I've had to go back and re-record. But I thought this would work. I took a turkey and this guy with basically something to help deal with fatigue, and then a flesh eater to just sit here and chop through people. And we're just going to do body ethereal and large regeneration. He didn't get the enlarge off, but I was still thinking, like, first of all, I wasn't expecting flyer, so I expected to finish the script. But these guys are pretty scary in terms of... And I mean, I don't know. It didn't work. I think if it were not flying infantry and we got our script off better, it probably would have been okay. But it wasn't okay. It was not okay at all. So anyway, we ended up losing a tiny bit of gear and a bit of gold. Was that? Yeah, okay. Then here, we've got a battle where he's sending his Sidhes in. Now, Sidhes are four-handed, teleporting. Now, this is still normal movement phase, but it's just they're not hampered by any terrain type or anything. Teleporting units, they can kind of move all over the place. They're astral air, which are pretty good thug paths, in a sense. But it does mean they can also be magic dueled. And we are going to, that's how we're going to kill them. This is why you don't really want to use astral thugs. We're not going to do it here, but... now they have spirit sight, so they're not affected by darkness. And they're pretty killy. I don't think I have enough guys on advance and cast spells. If I did, I could drain life them. Yeah, big communion with... Oh, there's a few in the back, though. But yeah, they don't seem to terribly want to do anything useful. They might not be high enough path. Yeah, this is not enough. They're only magic boost 2. So, and I think they actually got my guy who had done Power of the Sphere, so this is not high enough to do Drain Life. We have hit them with Decay, so they're decaying. Very unlikely they actually age out. This guy, I think, is going to run, though. But anyway, you can see with Mistform, they're actually pretty tough. If I had Drain Life, it would be different, but... even one guy casting it would probably be okay. So now they're all back here. I think we end up scaring them away with Panic, actually, as it turns out. Which is good, because if they ended up making us retreat, not only would we get kicked off their... This actually is the United Nations... I'm sorry, this is the Bassin G fort they're kicking us off of, or trying to. So we end up scaring them off. They run. I don't think they die, but they killed a fair amount of my undead chaff, so we'll have to bring in more. They have a Queen of Clouds coming in. I forget how she was kitted. Some basic armor, a Flesh Eater. If we look at elemental resistances, vulnerable to fire, she would get kind of murdered by fire elementals. But fire gems are super scarce. She would get probably killed actually by mass water elementals too. because she doesn't have cold resistance, and here there'd be ice elementals. She does have poison resistance though, so did she use gems? She might have. I think Storm might be built into this chassis. One of the chassis it's built into. I didn't think it was the Clouds one that had Storm built in. No, she used gems. I think she cast Storm to get Storm power, which pretty expensive. What Storm power does she have? Storm power 3? I mean, it does make her stats better. And she does have regeneration. So yeah, she's been fine. I mean, she's definitely something we can kill. It seems that this player has gone to get a lot of the elemental royalty, which, in my opinion, are a little overpriced. But nevertheless, they're quality units. Okay, here we have Werewolf plus Fluffer. Okay, the turkey dies. His cavalry runs in. If we look at the kit that I have on this guy, I can find my mouse. We've got a Flesh Eater, a Coral Blade. He didn't have boots, but basically he's got a fair amount of MR and then a hat and a Flesh Eater. But his regen is pretty crazy. Like his maximum HP right now is 76. Regen is 20%. So what does that mean? Well, it means he's going to be regenerating for 20% of 72, which we can probably just see when it ticks what that is. It's 16. So you have to do 16 damage a turn to him pretty regularly for a few turns to kill him, which, as it turns out, is pretty hard to do. And normal units aren't going to do it, but who might do it is this guy, who has Weapons of Sharpness cast on him, and he hits for 42 damage. So this is 42 AP damage, which will chew through this. He only has one weapon attack. If he has, does he have quickness on him? Without quickness, it will be, I think, a little bit of a challenge for him to do it. I think he burns out his communion here. And you can see he's getting quite a few kills. It's at 309. He's got a chest wound and is mute now, though. The horror mark sound you hear is actually them summoning false horrors. So now, as the battle ends, this guy apparently, and how he did it isn't exactly clear, because he's routed, but he seems to have like routed back in this direction. We're routed, or we're not routed, we're berserk. We're kind of afflicted, and we are kind of fatigued out. I think if we weren't fatigued out, we actually may have won this encounter. But yeah, every turn he's going to hit for 20, and we're going to hit for significantly less. And we're not even hitting every turn. But actually, you know, we're getting critical hit from the fatigue. The fatigue actually is what killed us here. If we look at, and actually this is just from the chest wound. If we didn't get that chest wound, there's a good chance we would have actually won this fight. Because they sit here and brawl for a little bit. But I have the disadvantage of being fatigued out, but I have the advantage of having 3 attacks. And I probably regenerate... No, he regenerates more than me. We probably would have timed out the battle and just killed each other. Because I wouldn't have taken so much damage. But anyway, you can see he ends up killing me. It's fine. Whatever. We killed, in terms of gold, he lost 5 times... what do you call it? 5 times 150. So that's... like 700 gold to those guys, and then he lost his 1 cavalry. He lost quite a few of those. They're not cheap. So, I don't know. He lost more gold than I did. He potentially got some of my gear, which I think most of his guys retreated by the time the battle ended, so I don't think he did. Is that us attacking him? Yeah. It's right here. So we moved in here to attack, and he went back and took it. So that is what happened here. But we basically kind of shattered his army, and it retreated, and some of it died when retreating too. So potentially even some of his mages died retreating. Like the Queen of Thunder might have even died. Hard to say. So I would say that was a win for me. It was not a, like, you know, I mean, it was a Pyrrhic victory because my guys all died, but we caused more gold loss than he did. He didn't get any of our items. We killed a huge amount of chaff, and for him, I don't think his chaff is free spawn. I think he's got to pay death gems for it. So I mean, that was valuable. Definitely, even if he has some free spawn mechanic I'm not fully aware of, he doesn't get it very cheap. So that is that. For events, we got this one, income -20, which is pretty shitty. Blood Slaves, we got some plus gold. There's an arena fight coming up, and we actually send somebody cool in to fight in the arena. Apparently we got a monster boar in our capital. Killed some brigands. And I think that is about it for this turn. Now, we're going to go ahead and just pull up the next turn. Well, no. What we're going to do is what I said we were going to do at the very beginning of the video first. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the mid-late game meta and how my nation is kind of crafted to deal with that. So the problem in the late mid game is that there's counters to almost everything, and especially when you're going to be fighting in like an all-stars game like this, when you can assume people are going to have some way to magic phase attack, they're going to have some way to mind hunt, you know, they're going to have thugs and other things too for them to do. The thing is that like a province isn't even worth that much. Like if you think about it, let's say I need a thug to take a province. Like the province is only worth 38 income, and maybe it gives me 1 or 2 gems. But the thug that I'm using to take the province is probably going to cost like 200 or 300 gold. Or the troops might cost 300 gold total. And the gems that I've put on the thug are probably going to be at least 10. You know, often around 15. So you end up having a pretty big investment for potentially a pretty small reward. And the ways your thug can be countered are many. Like I moved here to raid. Well, they can be countered by your thug running into an army. They can be countered, and this went really way better for me than I could have hoped for, running into an army. But they can, you know, the basic ways are they can be countered by mind hunt, which means you then have to have an astral mage. But if you're using an astral mage and they have cheap astral mages in their army, then they can just magic duel your astral mage, and then they can mind hunt your guy the next turn. So then it's like, okay, well, you need an astral mage in the army, like my turkeys potentially. That was what I was trying to do. But then if you don't have them, but if they're in the army, they get mind hunted. If you don't have them, if they're in the army, they get magic dueled. If you don't have them, you get mind hunted. So that's one of kind of the more important things with kind of the late mid game raiding. Well, fortunately, I think there are only 2 available stealthy astral mages. There's only 2 stealthy astral mages that I can remember. There's probably more if you look at random paths, but I think when I did it in the mod inspector, I remember 2. It's basically Star Children and this guy. This guy is going to serve a ton of purposes for me. He's going to be, so as Astral 3, he can teleport, which means he can teleport magic tool. So I can actually murder the Sidhes once I get a few of these guys bouncing around. So he can teleport magic duel. He can He can mind hunt very efficiently with only 1 gear, which means I get to use more of the miscellaneous slots for penetration items. He's stealthy, so he can follow my werewolves around and make sure they don't get mind hunted, which normally you'd have to pay like for a 15 gem item to do that on an astral mage. And he's cheap. He's $150. So super good. This is one of my most important late mid-game pickups, I think. And I haven't been making them a lot, and you haven't seen a lot of them, but they're going to be, going forward, an extremely important part of my strategy. And the fact that I'm going to have access to this guy and other people don't is going to give me an extreme, I think, competitive advantage as the game goes on. Yeah, that's I think actually one of the most important things for my build. And then also when people try to attack me, the Dryads are going to become increasingly important. If they try to set on my forts with non-stealthy raiders, like Sidhe or something like that, we can, like I have lifelong protections and stuff. I'm pretty sure I can come up with a kit that will murder Sidhe. But we'll see. I might actually need to forge a lantern shield, though I don't think I have the Death Earth crosspath. So we'll have to figure out what we do about that. Okay, anything else? Well, I think that's mostly it. I mean, Eagle Kings are obviously the shit. Scrotty normally fall off, but because I have Stealthy Astral, they're not going to fall off. Budget PD protectors. There's a bunch. I think I have a really, really strong nation. The only weak part was like expansion. But expansion actually expanded better than almost anybody because I kind of figured it out with the with reanimating Soulless. But if I had a really fast expanding neighbor, which sometimes you can have, I might have been in trouble in that phase. Anyway, I think that's that for this turn. Let's go ahead and pull up the real turn. Okay, we just have one guy left. We got a Sanguine Dowsing Rod from Othyrus. I probably should send them a message back saying thanks for the Sanguine Dowsing Rod. We can probably send them a little gold too. Keep the resistance alive. Okay, a hostile mage was discovered scrying in my lands, so they tried to mind hunt me here, which is very, very odd to me. Like, you know I have astral mages there. Very strange. We resisted another, so we didn't actually lose anybody to mind hunt this turn, which is nice. We found a Wellspring of Secrets, which I think is a water one site. And then for battles, we have quite a few. You can see the battle list is getting kind of long, so we'll kind of speed through it. He's attacking with the king. We'll just show you how he's kitted this guy out, because we're going to kill them this turn. This actually is going to be a pretty fun turn to talk through my move orders. It actually took me kind of a long time to play the turn. Frostbrand, Flesh Eater, Kithiaronic. I don't even know how you would say that. Kithiaronic. Lion Pelt, and then a Ring of Regeneration and a Girdle of Might. We're just going to call this a Lion Pelt. So he's got these idiots on Guard Commander. The ones that weren't on Guard Commander, they mostly died. And then one of them retreated, but the 5 who were on Guard Commander, they followed him, and then they killed the PD. But it's this guy plus a consul. Then basically it's the same deal with this dude, except no bodyguards. Then he's got a Sidhe who's attacked me here, and then a Sid Lord who attacked me here, and a Sidhe who attacked me here, and a Sidhe who attacked me here. We can see the battle right here with, we'll just see what kit he's got on these guys. pretty cheap kit. Flask of holy water, girdle of might. Yeah. Okay, we raid here with the Jotun werewolf. We raid here with a dryad leading some undead. This is just taking back some of the stuff that Max Verney had. Sidhe Lord bounces into my army. We cause him to rout. This was, I think, a fort he was moving on top of. And I think he was actually pretty lucky to rout here. Yeah, he's pretty lucky to get away. We got like point blank and shot him in the face with a crossbow. We see a Vesuvian Titan, aka a Laestrygonian Tyrant, wrecking a bunch of Zideans. We see Max Verney has run into us as he charges bravely out into the night, into the cold winter night. This is basically like the scene from Game of Thrones where they charge off into the dark night, except there's a werewolf instead of a huge undead army, but there could have been an undead army. Been like that scene rewritten where they run back there, and instead of the horses bravely charging into an undead army and dying, they run back there, they're like, where's the undead army? And then they're like, oh shit, it's a werewolf. And then the werewolf proceeds to do this. Wreck all of their shit. And the archers are like, they've killed the cavalry, maybe we can engage them in melee charge. And then that doesn't really work out very well for them. And then he attacks me. I forget what this battle is. Where is it? Bria? Oh yeah, so he had this army, what, here in his capital, because he was defending last turn? Oh, we didn't really look at it, but this is the same army. Because we pinged his capital, I just didn't really show it. Or did I? No, I didn't. Basically, it's a huge turbo communion, which it's going to mean things like darkness aren't great, but honestly, like, reanimating shit like this when I'm going to have Power of the Sepulchre, like, buffed up skeletons. Buffed up skeletons are way better than unbuffed. So, as long as we kill them as fast as they can make them, and I think we will, especially with archer support, I think we'll be okay. But we're actually expecting a battle here next turn. So we're actually, we have it fully scripted for a battle. So let's go ahead and check out our script real quick, and then we'll finish watching all the turn stuff. But we got Power of the Spheres, Anti-Magic Darkness, Flaming Arrows, Summon Earth Power. The Archer Squad is up here at the front. A fair amount of undead, but not an overwhelming amount. But we are going to have... Now, I think what's going to happen is that this army is basically going to be wiped out, but I think we'll barely win. That's kind of my guess. If that does happen, we'll maintain Siege of the Fort. I'm moving out here to conquer this so that if we do get wiped out, I'll have a territory to retreat to. So anyway, that'll be good. But yeah, I'm kind of expecting us to lose. But when we lose, we're going to kill... I think most of his stuff. One thing I maybe should do, actually... Can we do relief? I think I actually changed this. I think I throw up Relief. And then I think darkness isn't really going to help us here. It's just going to waste gems. I think what we actually do is rigor mortis. What that's going to do is, as the battle drags on... Do I have anybody here who can do Grip of Winter? I don't have any water gems. But as the battle drags on, basically everybody's going to fall asleep. The only thing that's... Okay, I mean, it's going to put both of our... The thing is, he's got a better communion than me. Though maybe I don't need to. Maybe we stick with darkness? Because maybe my Eagle King... Relief is going to be good, but maybe my Eagle King is actually going to be enough to... And he wasn't doing... We are going to throw Mass Flight in. Because I think this is going to be the big battle. There's a high likelihood he's going to do Storm. If he doesn't do Storm and we fight him without Storm, he's going to be completely fucked. If he does do Storm, because he didn't have it this fight, but I think I remember looking around and seeing air. Yeah, like this guy's probably going to cast Storm. Yeah, that regeneration. Okay, yeah, we can see he's definitely going to cast Storm because he's summoning Storm power here. So that regeneration was that this guy was going to cast was going to be Storm, but there just wasn't enough to cause gem usage. I mean, the other thing I could think about is I could try to gym bait him. God, that's actually a really good idea. He didn't have any flyers in this army, too. Okay. We really have to gem bait him. Our hand is forced. It's going to basically turn this into a complete wipe. Okay, who wants to die? My Eagle Kings are actually committed to other activities. This guy is cloud trapezing down here, and he's basically got... He's got a bottle of water and a barrel of mercury. And that will deal with the PD mostly, and then he's going to summon a ton of air elementals. And those are going to wreck, I think, both of these guys. I'm also moving an army into both of these from each of these supporting provinces, because what's going to happen is we're going to magic phase attack. I think we're going to kill both of these guys with air elementals. But unfortunately, after we do that, this army may move into one of these two provinces. Highly likely. If they do that, then we have the challenge that they will kill my Eagle King. So if we move an undead group in here, then basically the undead will die, and then the Eagle Kings will probably rout, which is the best I think I can hope for. But I really need somebody to magic phase. I think you are looking up to the job. Does he have any terribly... we could try to... What do we do? I think we just teleport and we do returning. We have armor we can give him? Not armor worth anything. I just want to burn through the storm script, and it's only the second slot, so we can just... We'll have him do like a fluff script like Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Body Ethereal, and then returning. And we'll put him at the very back. We'll give him a couple little shit items that I have floating around, like... I might need that Shambler skin. Yeah, not really sure. This should cause gem use. 3 gems on a 6-path mage should. It's a dirty trick, guys, but we're going to do it. Let's see what turn they actually kind of close. So, spellcast 1, spellcast 2, spellcast 3, spellcast 4. So I think it was 4 turns and they're not even in the back line, so we should be plenty safe. You know, the risk is, and what kind of PD did I have there? Just militia. Oh, there are archers. But we'll be fine because we're doing Iron Skin turn 1. So a moderate amount of archers will be fine. Yeah, then he won't get Storm off, and then we're going to get Mass Flight. Then he's going to be fucked. And then we should have a pretty strong communion on our side. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 masters. That should be okay. Should be okay. So let's make sure we get this in. I'm going to go ahead and turn, so it puts the new turn on the server. And then we'll come through and finish watching the rest of the battles. Oh, he had a small little group patrolling here. I guess this was just to deal with unrest. The long dead here. And then dire wolves attacking, skin shifters. Oh, we sent somebody to the arena, but unfortunately nobody really sent any. I was really hoping Fadod was kind of bragging that they got their blood research where they can do reascendance, which you get a fallen angel. And I was really hoping we would fight them. And so I had this guy kitted like an assassin, kind of. He had a lifelong protection and a bottle of living water, and then Berserk and a Coral Blade, which Coral Blades cause bleeding, so they're actually really good in assassinations. So anyway, I was a little bummed that it was just like a shit commander. We got the Champion's Trident. For whatever reason, I kind of thought we had Worthy here. I mean, Better Arena on, which makes these kind of interesting, because right now it's just a complete shit item. But anyway, we've got it. But yeah, we probably need to go ahead and move. I think I'm going to start splitting up some of these. I think it gives me magic leadership. I can just do things that give me magic. Yeah, now we can have 80. So I think we're going to take some of these. I want to decentralize a little bit where the Firebirds are stored in case we get nuked. Give them this in case a strange murdering winter comes in or something. But I want to split them up in case we get nuked, and also so that people don't scout it, because they kind of got wind of how many I had, and there was an alert that got sent off. The other thing that we're doing this turn is we are mind hunting the shit out of these elves, because we got our own mind hunt finished, and we're continuing to go down evocation to evocation 7 to get murdering winter for ourselves. Which will, if somebody is going to have an army that has enough mage support where it's scary to threaten one of my armies, well then I'll probably just murdering winter it. If it doesn't have a bunch of mage support, then it's probably just going to get absolutely wrecked by my stuff. Anyway. Evocation 6. Yeah, so anyway, we've got Mind Hunt. The guys who are doing it, I forget exactly where they're located. Okay, here's one of them. But basically, this is the kit they have. I think I'm getting half a kit. I don't think I'm making another Rune Smasher this turn, but I can still do it without the Rune Smasher. It just won't be quite as good, but it's probably still worth casting. And then I'm getting a fair amount of these guys coming up. Like, I'll get one here next turn. I'm going to start magic dueling the shit out of these Sidhe. I was thinking about, I could patrol my forts so that he can't put a Sidhe on top of my fort and like kill a bunch of chaff. But I don't want to reveal that I'm going to magic duel yet. I want to magic duel like all of his Sidhe at once. And then he's going to learn that I'm going to do it on the same turn I'm going to do it in mass. I probably could do with a few more. Honestly, I've got one coming out up there. Got one coming out here. Dryads being made there. I need more forts, so we've got a few more forts coming up. I've got one coming up here with a fort and a temple. I've got one coming up here, and I'm having Scrotty build forts because I don't want them to get knocked down by all the raiding elves. So I want something strong enough to kill elves. Got another fort coming up here, and then I think I might have actually, I can't remember if this guy was making a fort or not. He may have actually knocked down a fort I had in production there. But we're making a fort here. We've got a fair amount of PD. Make sure. I actually should reinforce. Oh no, I'm reinforcing. I have 2 Dryads now, and this one's going to summon. This one can actually summon a full-size water elemental, which would be pretty good if we get raided by elves. So, yeah, we're moving in to build some more forts because right now I don't have enough forts to produce all the mages I need to make. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy, I think, with my ratio of forts to mages. Unfortunately, I haven't really patrolled this province yet, and potentially I should look at doing it because it would be really nice. I think I do it. You patrol. These other guys are going to move out. We're going to be moving these 2 armies each on top of a fort, and we'll just start pushing these guys back. Anyway. Feeling pretty good. One thing I do want to check is how many of my guys are on advance. Okay, you're on advance and cast spells. You're on advance and cast spells. Okay, we've got a fair amount in this army. I think my default scripts are all advance and cast spells, but you never know. Okay, they are. So that'll be good for dealing with Sidhe if they pop up. The other thing I need to do is I need to make sure, as much as I can, I have bodyguards. Which we're actually not doing a very bad job of, if you believe it. I don't believe it, but Yeah, we've got bodyguards basically everywhere. Yeah. I mean, not literally everybody's bodyguarded, but all my sacred guys are. The other guys I would have to put real troops on bodyguard duty, and I'm not sure I want to do that. So that's basically it. We've got kind of the works coming in here. We've got mass flight. The thing I don't have that I need to get, we're getting evocation 7. Then I was going to head down to Thom 7. Yeah, that might be the right call. Thom 7 also potentially gives me Gale Gate. I don't have to get Thom 8. Shit. What's the other cool stuff at Thom 7? Dark Skies is really, really good. Vengeful Water is really good. These are good things. The reason I'm going for it, though, is for Charm. Plague's also pretty good, too. But really Charm. Because now I'm potentially going to start getting things from my turkeys embedded in my armies as part of the communions. So I think this is the right call, but potentially I should do Alt 8 before I do Thom 7. But I'm going to have Murdering Winter in case there's some real scary attack mounted. And like where it could be relevant is here we see a ton of Itzab, which not only are they going to just suck in combat because it's cold everywhere, but we can also nuke them with Murdering Winter. So I don't know if the Saccharite Sages, if they're going to be vulnerable. Phaedon. Yeah, they're super vulnerable to it. But the Itzab... I thought it said Itzab here. Did I misread it? The Itzab. It's kind of weird. It added a Zob to the end of it. It says it here, Itzab, but then here it says that's kind of weird. Anyway, these guys get absolutely wrecked by Murdering Winter. So, we can cast that on them. The thing is, if they don't bring a lot of commanders, we kill them with Dryads. If they bring a lot of commanders, we kill them with Murdering Winter. Or both. But I think that's it. We've got our outgoing Diplo. We've got 5 nature gems going to our now sworn enemy. But deals are deals. And anyway, I think that's it, guys. See you guys in the next episode. Take care.